We're now going to hear from another leader in this space. Sableen Singh joined the Sikh Coalition as Senior Education Manager in October 2023. Her role is instrumental in ensuring the accurate understanding and representation of Sikhi in public school education across the United States. Sableen possesses expertise in public policy across legislation and nonprofit endeavors. Her areas of focus have ranged from healthcare and education to immigration and housing reform. Sableen, a first-generation graduate, earned both her Master of Public Administration and her BA in Criminal Justice and Political Science. Please welcome Sableen.
Hello, is this on? Okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak with you all today. My name is Sableen, and I serve as the Senior Education Manager with the Sikh Coalition. I would like to begin with a personal story, a story that's very close to my heart. My younger brother has always dreamt of becoming a pilot. And after years of hard work and clearing every requirement, passing every test, he was accepted into an accredited flight academy back home in Colorado. After clearing every test, he's ready to register for courses through this academy, and he all of a sudden abruptly finds out he can't register for courses. I step in, I try to figure out, what happened. And he gets told by the advisors at the academy it's because of his beard. Now, my brother is a practicing Sikh, and as part of our faith, Sikh men maintain uncut hair, and that includes keeping their beards should they choose to. It's not by style or a fashion choice. It's a deeply meaningful religious practice and part of his Sikh identity. And yet, at that moment, his faith was treated as a barrier to his dreams. With legal help and a lot of courage on his part and my family's part, we were able to push back and advocate for him to be able to be accepted into this academy and pursue his dream of becoming a pilot. And after a couple of months, I'm checking in on him, seeing how it's going, how our classes, how our courses, how he's liking flying, which in this day and age, it sounds very interesting to be asking this question. But, he tells me, Sableen, it's going great. I'm actually having a really good time. But unfortunately, he said something that really, it's been stuck with me, is that I just want to live in a world where my religion is not just tolerated, it's respected. And I've been thinking about that as I've been navigating space in this, the civil rights space, and figuring out what else the Sikh Coalition and broadly what else I can be doing more to be furthering education and religious freedom, is that for a young man who's barely 20 years old, he's stepping foot into a career that he's long dreamt of. He knows this is a field where representation matters. It's bittersweet. He's very fortunate and glad and thankful that he has the opportunity to be able to continue, and that he had the resources to be able to continue, but also deeply disappointed that his faith was just left up to negotiation. That longing for dignity, for recognition and belonging is something no one should have to articulate, let alone a child or a young adult. And yet, it's a reality for far too many Sikhs and far too many minorities in this country. For far too long, advocates of religious freedom in schools have been working on defense. That means responding to harm case by case, family by family. But today, I want to talk about what it really means to move from defense to offense, and not only to work to prevent discrimination, but to proactively expand religious freedom in our public schools so that every child is seen, is respected, and has the ability to thrive. By way of background, like I mentioned, I serve as the Senior Education Manager with the Sikh Coalition. I'm joined here today with our Education Director, Ms. Manpreet Kaur. We are the nation's largest Sikh civil rights organization, and for more than 2 decades, we have been at the forefront of defending and expanding Sikh civil rights in the country. Our work began in the aftermath of 9/11, hours after, actually, when Sikhs, who are far too often targeted because of their turbans and their beards, have been subjected to hate crimes, workplace discrimination, and bullying in our schools. Since then, our organization has grown into a leading voice for religious freedom. We have fought legal battles to secure the right to be able to wear turbans and maintain beards in the US military, law enforcement. On our education team, we've had the fortunate opportunity to lead national efforts to make sure Sikhi or Sikhism is included alongside other major world religions in state social studies standards across 20 states plus Washington, D.C. We've had the opportunity to train thousands of educators on how to create inclusive classrooms for students of all faith backgrounds, religious or non-religious. In short, our work on the education team here at the Sikh Coalition is about ensuring that Sikh students, and by extension, all students, can bring their full selves into the classroom without fear. When we are on defense, our energy is spent reacting, that means filing complaints, challenging schools when they overstep, and correcting harm after the fact. And that work really matters. We've seen and won critical protections for students, Sikh students, the right to be able to wear articles of faith, to request religious accommodation, and to simply not be penalized for their identity. But offense, on the other hand, requires a different type of posture. It's about shaping the landscape so Sikh students and families don't have to keep on continuing to fight the same battle individually and over again. It's about embedding inclusion into policies, curriculum, and teacher training so that religious freedom isn't just an exception request. It's part of the fabric of our public schooling system. At the Sikh Coalition, this is the shift that I have the fortunate opportunity to work towards every day. From patching up harm after it happens to proactively building systems where every student feels safe and respected in the classroom before harm can even occur. We know that the shift is urgent and we need it. Our recent National Sikh School Climate Report titled "Where Are You Really From?", which was published in April of 2024, found incredibly alarming results. 78% of Sikh students said they were being bullied in their schools. This is a really high statistic, and those rates are even higher for those Sikh students who maintain their hair, who wear a patka, who wear a turban, who wear a dastar. These challenges, we know and understand, don't always come from a place of hatred, but too often they come from ignorance. Teachers may not understand fully why a Sikh student wears a turban, or why their hair is uncut, or why they may need to take a day off to be able to celebrate Vaisakhi or Bandi Chhod Divas. And through researching, our team has also found that curriculum too often ignores Sikh history and contributions, which leaves Sikh students to be invisible. These policies vary district by district, and that also continues to leave families to advocate from scratch. So what does it really look like to go on offense? I personally like to think about it in 3 different pillars of work: curriculum, teacher training or professional development, and policy. When Sikhism or Sikhi is included in state social studies standards, it gives students accurate knowledge and ensures Sikh children see themselves being reflected in what they're learning. As I mentioned, we've seen real progress here in states like California, New Jersey, Colorado, Texas, Michigan, and many more, and even more recently, Virginia, Connecticut, and Alabama, who have added Sikhism into their social studies standards. And none of this happened on accident. It happened through advocacy, through community engagement, and it happened, most importantly, through persistence. The second is teacher training or professional development. Curriculum is important, but so is equipping teachers to know how to respond in real time. Professional development on religious literacy can help educators understand maybe why a Sikh student wears a kada, why they keep their hair uncut, why they wear a patka, or why a child may miss school for Sikh holidays or celebrations like Vaisakhi. And this isn't, again, just about preventing discrimination that may occur. It's about affirmatively including and celebrating the Sikh identity. And the third is policy or systemic change. Now, that's not something that can happen overnight as much as we wish. We know that real progress requires more than just case-by-case fixes. It requires deep systemic change, and that means having clear statewide guidance so religious accommodations are consistent and they're not left up to chance. Policies need to guarantee excused absences for religious holidays and also protect students' rights to be able to wear their religious articles of faith, whether it's a kara, whether it's a dastar, whether it's a kirpan. And we know when these protections are built into the system, families don't have to keep on continuing to fight the same battles over and over, instead of every parent having to negotiate for their child's faith, for their child's belief. We create policies that work for everyone from the start. And none of this work can be done alone. It happens with amazing folks like you all that are here with us in the room today and have helped support our work over the last 2 decades. Moving from defense to offense does mean building coalitions across different faith communities, religious, non-religious communities, parent networks, and educators who all want to do right by our public schooling system and by the students in our schools. At the Sikh Coalition, we've also focused on partnering with gurdwaras or Sikh houses of worship across the country to be able to provide back-to-school resources in English as well as translated in Punjabi so that parents in our community and our Sangat know that they can request vetted, constitutionally appropriate resources to be taught in classrooms. We've worked alongside other civil rights organizations, like many of whom that are in the room with us today, to push departments of education towards more inclusive standards. Just yesterday, our director, Manpreet, and I, we were at the ULIS Sikh House of Worship here in Dallas, and we had the fortunate opportunity to meet with a lot of Sikh community and just see what are some challenges or concerns that the Sikh community here are facing. And towards the end, as we're wrapping up, I had a 6th grader come up to me say, you know, just before school ended last year, she was realizing that there was a packet with different holidays and celebrations, and she was so excited to see that Vaisakhi was included alongside Diwali, Hanukkah, Christmas, and many others that come up throughout the year. And that smile, she was beaming. She's a 6th grader. That just shows the difference that this work is making. And I know that one thing that I've learned from this group is that when we show up together, it becomes clear. Expanding religious freedom isn't just about one group, one faith community. It strengthens the protections for us all. So as we look into the road ahead, let's remember that religious freedom in schools is not only about preventing harm, it's about building classrooms where every child can walk in with confidence, knowing that they will be respected. It's for policymakers to keep on continuing to adopt inclusive standards and model policies that affirm religious diversity. It's for educators to seek out training and be advocates within your schools. Reach out to more district members, more educators in your networks, invite them to join those professional development trainings. And for parents, community leaders, advocates, share your stories, stay engaged. I'm so inspired by all the speakers here today and through this coalition and all the stories I've heard. And I'll leave you all with this, that in the Sikh tradition, we carry the spirit of Chardi Kala. That means it's an outlook of resilience, optimism, and hope. It means that even when challenges arise, we keep moving forward with courage and strive for a better future. That is the spirit that we need in our schools, a spirit that doesn't just protect students from harm, but actively creates the conditions for them to have the opportunity to thrive. Because when every student is seen, is respected, religious freedom is not just defended, it's alive and it's growing. I want to thank all the organizers, Trinae, Guthrie, for all the hard work in getting this agenda put together and for inviting us to be here. It's an honor to have the opportunity to connect with you all and learn from you all. And let's keep fighting this fight. Thank you.